Is it me or is it you? Physically, understanding of someone and understanding oneself. Sometimes it's strange, right? So, when you think of it, is it me or is it you? That's the first question. At first, I used to think it was you. I used to always point the question. I'd be like, yeah, it's you. It's not me, it's you. It's you. It's you. And then again, it'd be like, nah, man. And then, my whole life I thought that. So as I reflected and thinking of looking at myself, because if you don't look at yourself, how can you really reflect something into a situation? So I started looking at myself. I started, I started looking in the mirror. Started looking at my own reflection. And then I started seeing that my reflection was doing some very bad things. And I ain't talking about no smoking or drinking or nothing like that, right? I'm talking about physically doing wrong. So as I completely doing wrong, first I had to correct that. That's what I did first. I corrected that. And then I asked myself that question again. Is it me or is it you? So I thought about it again. And I went to the same conclusion to look at myself. So I went back to the mirror. I looked at myself again. So as I looked at myself again, I reflected on what I was doing again. So I took some more things away. I kept on taking things away until I felt like I was left with nothing. So as I'm sitting there with nothing, right? I'm like, I took all these things away from me, and now it's not that I'm not happy, but I'm not satisfied. And I was like, why was I not satisfied? Why am I not satisfied? So I asked myself again. I asked myself again, is it me or is it you? So the second time, for the third time I asked myself this question. Hold on, y'all. Let me mute this person. He's in my ear. But as I was saying, was it me or was it you? So as I reflect on the situation, I'm like, is it me again? Like I didn't took everything away from me. How can it still be me? What am I still doing? And then something came to me. It's not you, right? It's not what you was doing. It's what you have, and what are you doing with what you have? So I got what I have. So now I'm looking at what I have, all my possessions. So now I'm looking at all my possessions. So it got to be my possessions. It wasn't me. I didn't cleanse myself, so it can't be me, right? So it got to be my possessions. So I'm looking through my possessions, trying to see what is causing me to do bad things, right? Like what's like, cause evil thoughts just kept coming up out of me. I kept on thinking to do people wrong and doing like outside of myself. So I'm keep on thinking this, right? Why am I keep on trying to do this, right? So as I came to the conclusion is it wasn't me. So as I come to it, right, I keep on coming to the conclusion it's not me, but I'm still going back to the mirror, right? I'm still going back to the mirror trying to see what's going on. You heard me? So but it keep coming up. It keep coming up. You heard me? But I'm not acting on what's coming up. See, it's coming up. It's coming in my brain, telling me to do this and do that and do this and do that. But I'm not acting on it anymore. So it said you been stopped doing the things. Now the things trying to fight you. It kept on trying to get me to do it. It keep bringing it up, bringing it up, bringing it up. So I'm like, it's not me. And I kept on looking at it that it wasn't me. But when I came to that real conclusion that it wasn't me, then I could find out who am I fighting against? Who is the real enemy? Who is on the outside of me fighting against me, right? So, right. So it's going against me. It's fighting me. And it was tearing me up too, right? So as I'm losing, I'm thinking. Guess what? Something else told me. Some said you're not even in a fight, huh? What I just went through all this stuff though. Why I ain't in a fight? Why? What you mean I ain't in a fight? I've been fighting my whole life. You heard me? He said, nah, man, you ain't in a fight. So I'm like, why I ain't in a whatever? You know why I'm not in a fight? Mute me if you don't want to hear me. All right. So why I'm not in a fight? You heard me? So as I got to a conclusion of I wasn't in a fight. So I'm not in a fight, right? I'm not swinging. You heard me? So I'm like, so tell me how I'm not in a fight. You heard me? So tell me why I'm not swinging. I'm real. I'm a gangster. You heard me? So tell me why I ain't fighting. I feel like I've been tearing all this stuff because you only been fighting against yourself. Huh? What? I only been fighting against myself. Have you even looked what's going on around you? What you mean? I'm a gangster. Say it again. I'm a gangster. I physically can do anything I want. You heard me? I got money. I got all this. Yeah, man. But look what's going on around you. So I'm going back to it. All right, what's going on around me? So I keep looking on what's going on around me. He said, then something else told me. He said, if I build up me, my whole life up, I'm perfect. I'm just good person, right? Doing good. And I build my son up the same way. Then I die. And my son is 3 years old. And my son is left with my community. My what? Your community. If he left with your community, what would he become? What would he become? Let me mute you too. What would you become? He would become another person like out there. So if you don't help your community, how can you really help yourself? So, and that would make me think, that's why you always got to really try to build up around you. Because if you build yourself all the way up to this stature, you're the only one there. So if you fall, everyone that's connected to you is going to what? They're gonna fall with you. So assumingly, if you the one that's connecting everybody, man, a blink of an eye is a life. You heard me? So if you think about this, if you think about that, you're all the way up here. You heard? I'm not preaching. I'm telling. It's a difference. But assumingly that if you all the way up here, I'm telling you about my experience. This is my experience. You heard me? Physically, if you don't want to hear me, mute me, son. But physically to understand, man, that we're up here, man, and we need to get other people up here with us. And if we all up here, we can mostly control, because if one of us fall, we still have someone standing us that's doing the same thing we're doing. Now, I'm not talking about family. See, family, yeah, it's good to a point, but family are parts. Like when you grow up with your family, you grow up and you go off to college, you go off to a whole nother state. Now you with a whole different group of people. Now it's time for you to go to work. You heard me? For you to try to get these people to understand that if we don't work together, that assumingly, but if you don't think like this, that means we all lost. That means in 10 years, your son and your great grandchildren gonna be thinking the same way to build theyself up and leave everyone else behind. And then when they realize that the next generation will drag them down, and they'll look like a fool, because if they give their money to a fool, only thing that will happen is foolish things. Now this physically things, man, now this is what I have come to see. And this what it's all right. Don't worry about him, man. He blessed, man. That's why I mute him, man, because he need to hear this more probably than everyone. Yeah, that's what we here for. You know. Oh, bad. What's your name? It's not church stuff, brother. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This life. If you take the church out of it, you still losing. I promise you, brother, you still losing. If you take all the church out of it, America, the government, everyone is still wronging us in so many ways, man, that we can't even fathom. And that's what's hurting me so much, that we do not see it. It took me 30 years to physically see. And that's what that would hurt me so much about my youth, man, that we don't see it. We physically don't see how much we're being hurt. And it's not one race. We're all being hurt. From every color, every race, everyone that pays the government and does this and not focusing on their surroundings that help their self. Because if you, man, I promise you, man, if you can see it how I see it, man, you wouldn't even be saying the stuff you're saying, man. You'll be telling people the same thing I'm saying. You heard me? But physically, it's the Lord that has me saying these things. But assumingly, I'm telling you, if you look at it from the world point of view, you will see it the same way. If you were smart or any type of wise, you will see it the same way. Physically, man. But I hope I gave y'all some, you heard me? But you heard me, I'm going to move on to another thing. I got another subject to go on to after this. But I hope y'all be blessed. Cause I done got out the mood.